Welcome to the Men Are the Prize podcast. It is I, Harvey, your host, of course, and I'm blessed, as usual, to have a great guest, John Giordano. How are you this evening? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, listen, it's always a pleasure and a blessing to go and share information with God's kids. That's how I look at it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time. I start every podcast with this after talking to whoever our guest is, and I go with this. This podcast is focusing on men and our emotions and being vulnerable and talking about being a man in life in general. I am not trained in anything. The only thing I'm really good at is that being myself, being me, the man that I am. Everything else is a work in progress. So this is an opportunity to talk, to be comfortable. And if this conversation leads you to feel comfortable enough to talk to somebody about your issues, then this was a success. If you need to find somebody to talk to, friend, mentor, doctor, someone, find someone to talk to. It's better to get our emotions released than to hold them in. Bad things happen, we hold on to them. So I always say that I am not someone who can prescribe, I can't diagnose, but I hope this leads you in the right direction to talk to somebody about whatever issues you may have. And with that said, Mr. Giordano, are you ready to speak?
Listen, all I know is this, what you said was perfect, but also you have your life experiences. And that also matters a lot also.
Agreed.
You know?
You're right.
So, it's the way it is.
It is. So what I do is I have my mantra where I came up with the idea for this podcast is called Men of the Prize. I take the word prize. Each letter represents a characteristic I think benefits men. And we're going to go through a few questions with you. But before we start with that, can you give us a quick little bit of information about you so we know who we're talking to?
Okay. I'm a recovering addict. I'm coming up on 38 years of recovery. I didn't think I would have 38 seconds, but I did. I have 38 coming up on 38 years. I had a lot of stuff happen to me when I was a kid. I was molested when I was a kid. My father was a heroin dealer. My father went to jail when I was a kid. My uncle was a hitman. As a matter of fact, he killed a caterer at my wedding because he insulted him. I come from a mafia type family. There were bookies and Shylocks and all kinds of different things. A Shylock is somebody who loans you money at a high interest rate. If you don't pay, you end up paying one way or the other. I'm an inner city kid, and I got a whole story. And I wrote a book called The Kid from the South Bronx Who Never Gave Up. And it's about life and how when I got into recovery, I quit school in the 9th grade. I got into recovery and I went back to school. I got my all kinds of different certifications and degrees and all kinds of things. I wanted to help people. I went to treatment. I felt I didn't have a problem. They did an intervention on me and my family. I just told you who my family was. So I'm wondering who's doing an intervention on them. But anyway, my mother said she'll never talk to me again. So I went to treatment and say, look, I'll take a break and get anybody off my back. And, we were always taught not to share emotions. Okay. And so when I was in group, they said, you got to, John, why don't you share about some of the things that you're feeling? I said, if I do that, I'd have to kill you. So, eventually I wound up loosening up. My mind cleared up, because I used to do collection work for the smugglers. I used to deal drugs. I used to teach one of the cartels bodyguards self-defense and all this stuff. So I did a lot of crazy stuff in my journey in order to get to recovery. And what I learned in recovery is if you hold on to your shame and you hold on to guilt and you hold on to all that crap, okay, it's going to take you down. So as you said in the beginning of this podcast, go get a pastor, a counselor, another recovering addict, anybody where you can share your stuff with that at least will listen to you. And most people say, well, it really was talk. What is talk going to do? Like, I'll tell you what, once you give it a shot and see what it does for you.
Definitely.
Yes.
especially for us men, we're not typically, that's not really how we're raised. We're supposed to kind of man up, hold it in. We're not supposed to be
Yeah,
vulnerable
but
and
you
express.
and I both know it's all baloney.
Yeah.
You know, everybody cries in the closet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. We get it out somehow. Yeah.
So, you know, when I got into recovery, man, I was like, I got divorced. You know, I wanted to help the world and all this kind of stuff. And I really dug in because my son almost died from this disease. And I'll make it real quick. If you want to know the whole story, get the book. It's not expensive. I wrote it to help people and give them hope and show them no matter what. There's a little thing that I wrote that I always like to read, if it's okay.
Of course.
Okay. It's called "The Kid from the South Bronx Who Never Gave Up." Here is my roadmap for positive change. There is one thing in this world, one special lesson, one constant that has guided me through the turbulent waters of life. This infinite rule, which most people know but ignore, or who simply do not follow their life lessons. That is, no matter what, no matter the circumstances, the obstacles, the people that get in your way, or things that slow you down, follow this one simple rule. Never give up on your dreams, never let go of your passions, and especially never give up on yourself or a God of your understanding. So all I can tell you is this, guys. Here I am, was homeless, only went to the 9th grade, went back to school, and in 18 years later, I turned $300 into 45 million with my partners, running a treatment center.
That's the story in itself, and I'm ready to read that. And at the end, I'll make sure that the link to where people can purchase the book or talk to you or find you will be in the.
Yeah, you get it on Amazon. You get it all over the place. It's everywhere.
It'll be everywhere. It'll be noted here so people can find you. And I'm sure after hearing us talk, I'm sure they're ready now to get the book, but we'll give them some more to think about. What I do with this podcast, like I mentioned, I take the word prize and I break it down. The first letter in the word prize is P, and the word is purpose. And that is defined as reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So my first question for you, sir, is what is your purpose?
My purpose is real simple. Okay. To still become teachable, number one, because I know, I learned in life, I know that I don't know, and to help God's kids and share with them information that I learned and see what they do with it.
Okay. Did you grow up religious?
Well, I grew up a Catholic. I call myself a recovering Catholic, by the way.
Okay. I'm an atheist, so I'm always interested to talk to people who are religious. And obviously,
well, that's interesting because I'm glad you said that. When I got into treatment, I didn't want to know about God. Religion to me is a way of controlling the masses. So I wasn't interested in any of that. Okay. So one of the old timers came up to me and says, "Hey, John, how about G-O-D?" I said, "Look, man, I know how to spell." He said, No. He says, "How about your God can be good, orderly direction?" I said, "That I can do."
Okay.
You see, I look at life this way. If there is no God, okay, there's no God. But there is, everybody else is screwed who don't believe that something's out there.
Okay. I hear you.
That's how I look at it. It's simple. Nobody knows.
Exactly. I asked that because you grew up and life was tough for you. So I know if it was me, I would have real questions about the way I was raised and the circumstances which I was raised in. Were you shaken? How was your faith tested growing up, like you did? And
I'll be honest with you, faith wasn't even included in any of that. I was just rolling along singing a song, Everything seemed normal to me. You ever watch The Sopranos?
Yes, sir.
I don't. I lived it. Okay, so I mean, this is what. You come from a family, you know what goes on, who's fighting with who, who's blaming who for what, all this kind of stuff, all the drama that goes on in life. Everybody has that stuff. I don't care who you are.
Right. Okay. I respect that. The next letter in the word prize, the letters R, the word is resilience. The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. Sounds like you went through a lot in your life, obviously. Can you give us a situation or a circumstance where you kind of found your resilience?
Well, look, let's put it this way. I don't think anything happens quickly. I think sometimes it happens at the speed that it happens, you know, sometimes slowly, you know, sometimes right away, maybe. Okay. It all depends on the depth of what it is. You know, like when I got molested, it took me years to get over that. You know, my father going to jail, it took me time to get over that. Me, you know, getting divorced, you know, took time for that too. You know, you got to give time. There's no, you know, it's not about, well, it takes 20 minutes to do this and about an hour to do that. Resilience comes where you keep going no matter what. Because life, when I treat addicts, they go, oh yeah, but my life, this is going on and that's going on. I said, well, let me explain something to you, my man. If you don't have anything going on, that means you're dead. Life goes on. It's on a constant change. Nothing or no one stays the same.
So true. So true. As you were going through all these things in your life, obviously, resilience builds with time. How was your sanity? I have to ask, with all things that you're going through, were you at the point of giving up? Were you looking for the next good thing to happen? What's your mindset growing up through all this stuff?
I was totally crazy. What was my mindset? I mean, all the shit that was happening in my life, I was nuts, but I kept going. You know, did I get depressed? Yeah, I got depressed. I got out of it. Did I get angry? Most of the time I was angry. Did I have shame? Absolutely. Did I have guilt when I realized that I did something wrong? You know, life is a learning lesson. And, you know, if you don't learn to be at peace with your soul, or whatever you want to call it, okay, doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. Look, I like nice things like anybody else. I'm a kid from the hood, you know, give me anything that, you know, a fancy bicycle, I'm excited,
Right.
you know? So the bottom line is just, it takes time, but you got to be on the journey of self-disclosure and also self going inside. It's an inside job, not an outside job. So you really got to work on yourself. I got so much more work to do. I'm 75 and I'm still going.
Okay.
You know, I got ties older than you.
Are you at peace now?
Piece of what?
Your soul.
Am I happy? I don't know. It depends what day it is. You know,
Okay,
sometimes I'm
okay.
at peace, sometimes I'm not. You
Okay.
know, but more often than not, I am.
That's good. That's good. We skip I because we'll come back to it. The next letter in the word prize, the letter is Z, and the word is zeal. Zeal is enthusiastic devotion. Can you tell me something, anything that you are enthusiastically devoted to?
I'm devoted to helping God's kids. I'm devoted to not going to any more funerals. I'm tired of that. I'm also devoted into getting this book across, which we might be doing a movie about it. By the way, I didn't tell you that part.
All right.
Yeah, we're writing a treatise right now about it, and maybe some of the bigwigs in Hollywood might be interested. I have Captain Sandy from Below Deck. I don't know if you ever watched that show. Okay. She's the star of that. She's my producer.
Oh, good luck.
So, okay. You know, and it's not about making the money. Listen, I'm not saying I don't like money, okay? I'd be lying to you, right? But the bottom line is that's not my main thrust.
Right.
You know, let me tell you, it was really interesting, Harvey. When I was going through and when we first opened that treatment center, we were broke as a joke, but we still helped people that really wanted it, even if they didn't have any money. Sometimes we couldn't even make payroll, you know? And the bottom line is that our goal was never to make a lot of money. I know that may sound strange, but we put one foot in front of the other and it started to happen. And it kept on going and going and going. And thank God I had great partners. And thank God I had a great team because you don't do anything without a team. I don't run the show, okay? I'm just part of the show. And maybe my name's out in front, but I'm just part of the show. And the bottom line is when you're doing the right thing and you have integrity and you have values, okay, it comes back to you. Even what you're doing right now with this podcast, okay? Whether 100 people see it, 1,000, even one, if you help one person, you did a heck of a job.
Agreed.
That's how I look at it.
I agree. I thank you for saying that. So let me ask you, what was the impetus for you deciding to create the center? You and your partners, how did you decide to do that?
Okay. Treatment, okay. There's only I see this is what I lecture. I didn't tell you, I'm also in 77 medical and scientific peer-reviewed journals. I work with 20 to 25 universities, scientists, researchers, and doctors. Now, here's a kid from the South Bronx. I was in gangs. I was, not educated. And I can't even believe where I winded up. I lecture all over the world. I must have lectured to over 100 and something countries. Treatment today, okay, has only a 5 to 8% recovery rate. Now, why does that happen? Okay, really simple. It's supposed to be a medical model. It's not, number one. And why do I say that is because it's only psychological. So if you feel, we talk about depression, right? Let's say you feel depressed and anxiety. So you go to a treatment center, you go to a doctor, what do you think he's going to do? Okay, he's going to hand you pills. Now, you may need them, you may not need them, but that's what they're going to do. But wait a second, hold on now. Did he check your thyroid to see if you got depression and anxiety? Probably not. Did he check you have leaky gut or H. pylori infection? Probably not. Those are all things that cause depression and anxiety, those gut diseases. All right. How about hypoglycemia? Can you get depression and anxiety? It's low blood sugar? Absolutely. Closed-head injury, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, and behavioral problems. Are they checking that? So how can I throw pills at you when I don't even know what you have? Now, psychological piece, it's like I'm Italian, so I like a pizza, okay? Psychological piece is important. Spirituality is a foundation for, I believe, not religion, spirituality. Learn to be kind instead of right, okay? Help people less fortunate than you. Become that all that God intended you to be, whatever God is to you. I don't push anybody to anywhere. If whatever works for you, man, go do it. Who am I to say what works for you?
Right.
See, and that's how I look at life, and that's how I always tell people when I do a group or I lecture about this stuff, please do not believe a word I tell you. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to go look it up for yourself. This is your life, not my life. My life is good. You want to change your life? Go look this stuff up. So there's a lot of things that we're not doing. And then the time in treatment is too short. 28 days, that model is 70 years old. It doesn't work anymore. It was based on alcoholism. They got designer drugs, they got fentanyl, they got all kinds of different drugs that are out there, methamphetamine. The brain is getting damaged. Who put at 28 days? Oh, your brain's healed in 28 days. Now go out and change your life. Yeah, right. No, wrong. People say, well, the insurance companies don't cover that. Yeah, of course not, because they're stupid. And why do I say they're stupid? Because look, they're based on money, not giving you money. Okay, the treatment centers are based on getting your money. So that doesn't work too well for the people that hold the strings. Okay, now I understand the insurance companies, but here I have a way of setting that up. The way I look at it is it takes anywhere from 60 to 90 days, okay, depending on the severity of the illness, to give somebody a good shot at staying clean and sober. Now, what do I base that on? Well, there's a 90-day model that's called the PRN or the IPN. They use for nurses or for doctors. They are inpatient for 90 days. They have a 5-year aftercare program. They have a 90% recovery rate. Go look it up, guys. Okay? Why is that? All right? Why? Because they have enough time. Okay? We're all different human beings. I don't care if you're black, white, Spanish, Asian. I don't care. Okay? It doesn't matter. The bottom line, what matters is that we all have a different time to get well, depending on how much damage we did to ourselves. Then there's amino acids. There's different things you could do. Nutrients. Addicts that come in are nutrient deficient and volume depleted. They don't drink water. They don't eat right. And if your body is not getting the proper nutrients, you're not going to function properly. Tell you what, you have a gasoline car? Go put diesel in it. Let me know how your car works. Oh, wait a minute, diesel's fuel? So I talk real simple with people.
I see. That's good. I think that's
I talk to psychiatrists, psychologists, scientists, therapists. Nobody argues with me because it's in their wheelhouse. I don't ask them to believe me because they already know what I'm saying. They're just not looking there. They're trained to look a certain way. Okay? And that's all we do is look that way. Harvey, I just came across a technology that and it's very hard to blow my mind. I mean, I work with hyperbaric medicine, oxygen under pressure. I work with all heavy metal toxicity that causes disruptions in the neurotransmitters that mimic ADHD and mimic bipolar disorder. I do a lot of different studies and different things and different modalities that cause different problems. Okay? But I came across something that is unbelievable, blew me away. And it has to do with, and you probably don't know what it is when I tell you, because I didn't know either, and everybody I speak to doesn't know. You ever heard of the Atlas?
No.
I know. Neither did I. You know what the Atlas is?
I know what an atlas is, but you're going to tell me something
different. The atlas is the top bone on your vertebrae that holds up your head.
Okay.
Now you're familiar.
Okay.
That's right. That's why they call the Atlas. So Atlas holds up the world.
That's right.
Okay. So that's the part that holds up your head. Now, what runs through that Atlas is your nerves that go right down your spinal column, right down into your major organs, and your blood flow. Your inner carotid artery runs through there also. Okay? That gives the blood supply to your brain. That when it gives you blood, and then it takes the blood out because you get all the toxins out of the brain. You know, the body's always, cycling, okay? Mm-hmm. So I go to this guy, and he tells me about what I'm telling you. And I have stenosis in my back, I have back pain. My wife has back pain also. I have one leg is about 3/4 of an inch shorter than my other leg, all right? So he does an exercise with me. He sends me for an x-ray of my neck. And I come back and he looks at it and then he makes a calculation and he lays me down on this table. He shows my that 1 foot shorter than the other. It's plain to see. He gets this machine, okay? He does a calculation. He puts this bar and it just not even touches my neck, right? And he sends a pulse to that atlas, okay? And he says to my wife, all right, come down to the end of the table. I said, look at his feet. They were even. Harvey, this is no baloney. I get off the table. I have no pain. Okay? Now, the next morning, I'm reading small print. And my wife said, don't you want your glasses? I said, oh, no, man. I can see. All right? And our mood was elevated. So we went back to the doctor because we had to get another x-ray of our neck to show the pre and post, okay? And you can see the atlas moved. Now listen, man, he sent a vibration to my neck. That's what moved the atlas. So I said to him, well, how could this be possible? My mood's better and I'm seeing better. I don't have any pain. He said, look, John, when your atlas is this way, okay, your vertebrae goes like this, right? This is your atlas. Now we have cartilage in between each vertebrae, right? So we could take pain like this. But if this is like this, the brain compensates And look what happens to my finger. It bulges. That's how we get bulging disc. It's compensating for the top bone, okay? So when you straighten that out, now he showed me my blood supply was being impeded by this angle. Remember, the intercarotid artery runs through there. And my nervous system, my nerves were being impeded on the other side because my neck was twisted to the right, my vertebrae, and also in the middle of my neck to the left. So it was doing this to my vertebrae and to my blood supply. I brought my friends up there. Nobody has pain anymore.
Wow.
Their mood is elevated. This is some voodoo stuff, man. Let me tell you something. Okay. You don't want to believe in God, but believe in this stuff, man, because this works.
Sounds believable to me. Oh my goodness.
Okay. It's called epicclinics.com. I don't own it. I don't have money, in it, which I'm going to eventually put. Okay. But this guy is unbelievable. He invented this. He actually reinvented this technology. Now remember, he didn't touch me with his hands. Only set the pulse to my neck. That's it.
It's amazing.
But you know what's more amazing? Okay. People that get knee injuries, back injuries, car accidents, whatever, right? They get stuck on Oxycontin, Oxycodone, right? Okay. Now they stop doing, instead of doing one, they're doing two. Instead of doing it at every time at 1 o'clock, they're doing it every time at 11. They just keep adding and adding, and then they get addicted. Right? Now they go to treatment. Okay, so we detox them. They come out of treatment. They still have the pain, Harvey. We're not doing anything for the pain. Right? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to back on the oxys.
Yeah.
This is going to be a boon to the addiction field. And you know what I love about it? There's just like, I don't know if you know, I'm a grandmaster in the martial arts also. Black belt, Hall of Fame and stuff. What I loved about karate was, you think you're a tough guy? I get on the mat. I mean, you find out in 3 seconds, right? Well, it's the same thing with this. Don't believe me, man. Go and do it. Give it a shot. What do you got to lose? It's not expensive. It's about $800-900. If you don't have the money, borrow it, because how much money are you spending on pills? All right. And how's your life, quality of life? And what is your life worth? So it's up in Clearwater, Florida. So my wife and I, we traveled up there. This friend of mine is the one that introduced me to this technology. And I know he was an ethical guy. And I said, look, I'm open-minded. I'll give it a shot. What do I got to lose? $900, I'll borrow some, whatever. If I didn't have the money, because I'm in pain all the time. How much is getting out of pain worth?
A lot.
So these are some of the things that I investigate.
Okay. That's good. That's a lot of information. You gave me a lot. Got me thinking about
I know.
Yeah. The last letter in the word prize is E. The word is expectation. I usually have a different kind of question for this, but I'm going to change it because I'm talking to you. As a recovering addict, what is your expectation for yourself every day, aside from, waking up and being alive? Do you have goals for just living day to day? Do you have goals for what you want to achieve in the months?
When you say to me expectation,
mm-hmm.
That way of being disappointed. I go with the flow. Do I have things that are like this movie? I'm excited. We're in the middle of writing a treatise. Okay. Do I have expectations? I don't know if you want to call it expectations, or I leave it up to the higher power to figure that one out. Because I don't want to get disappointed. See, I don't say anything. I don't get excited, okay, till the fat lady sings, as they say,
Right.
So that's when I get no offense to anybody that's overweight, because I'm overweight too a little bit. So anyway, I got a battle with the food. Never mind, But the bottom line is that when you expect something, you can get easily disappointed. So I think it's okay to have short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Okay, but don't live in the future. See, most people, they live in the past and they live in the future, and today's the present and lose in the present. Okay, because all we got is this moment in time. Right now, a plane could crash in a house and we're done. Okay, so all you got is this moment, not this. People say, "Oh, a day at a time." I say, no, 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 a moment at a time, because life changes from moment to moment. Okay. So that's how I look at things. I get excited, not too excited. Okay, and go from there.
Okay. All right, you've lived quite the life and still doing so. The I in P.R.I.Z.E is the final part of this, and I don't give it a word. It kind of represents something to me. So my question to you is this: when you kind of take away all the titles, husband, father, employee, author, movie star, whatever, everything that you're going to be, when you take all those titles away, and when you really can sit in your core, when it's just you, John, without anything else, who are you?
That's a funny question, because there's seminars that say that they give you the same question. I am who I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. That's who I am. I am who I am.
Okay. All right.
Whoever that is. I'm not just a karate guy. I'm not just this guy. I'm not that husband. No, I just am who I am.
Okay. All right. All right. Last few questions, and then we'll kind of give you one more shot to give us a good bit of info on the book. I have 3 questions that I end this with. First question is, what are you afraid of that you cannot control?
Well, right now I'm concerned with, I have a growth in my neck, and I have to get a biopsy tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's not afraid. I'm really concerned, and I'll have to deal with whatever comes out of it. I think it's something else, but, cancer or whatever, listen, I'll just deal with it. So that's where I am right now.
Okay.
In time. See, like I said, I'm not afraid to share what's going on. Okay. I don't put on any airs or any bullshit in English. Like I said, I am who I am.
I hear you. You're living that life. With that said, the other side of that coin, what are you afraid of that you can control?
Well, if I can't control it, if I can, I'm not afraid of it.
Okay. That's a good, you're the first person to give me that answer. That's the first person, because most people kind of think of things, but if you realize it's something you control, then you shouldn't be afraid of it, because,
What could you be afraid of? You could control it.
Yeah, you're master of your own, makes sense. I got you. And the last question I have for you is this. For us men, we deal with a lot, we all do, but obviously this is a podcast for men, so we do a lot of things in this world, a lot on our shoulders. What do you do for yourself when you're really, really high, lots going on in your world, and you need to kind of calm down? What do you do to self-soothe? What do you do to calm yourself down?
Well, I work out, I meditate, I read, I help people, I get out of me. I give me a break, because I'm with me all the time.
I like that. And step out of me and do with other people and help them out. That's good.
Yeah, give myself a break, because look, I remember in treatment, they call it an OTC, therapeutic community. What they usually do is they put the guy in the middle of the room, right? And all the group, they beat him up, and then they build him up. So I always said, I didn't need anybody to beat me up. I did a good enough job on my own. You ain't going to beat me up any better than I beat me up.
I hear you.
So,
I hear you.
Listen, you got to eat better. You have to definitely exercise on a daily basis. because see, stress is what kills us. Okay? So the bottom line is that stress depletes dopamine. That's your feel-good drug that you manufacture naturally. Okay? Exercise improves dopamine. So you're doing two things at the same time. You're preventing your brain from losing dopamine. You're invigorating yourself to get dopamine. And you get rid of the stress. Stress causes disease. Stress causes all kinds of problems. That's why people get heart attacks. Okay? And if you don't eat right, you know, I deal with a lot of different communities. I worked in the African-American community since 1965. Most of my black belts are African-Americans. Matter of fact, I helped revitalize, I don't know if you're familiar with Liberty City and Overtown in Miami, Florida. That's the black community. Right. Matter of fact, they gave me the Martin Luther King Award in front of 60,000 people at the James Brown concert that I threw in Liberty City.
Okay.
I invited President Reagan to come to the opening of this flea market that I was the marketing guy for and the security guy. And I sent a letter to the White House inviting him. Everybody laughed at me. Well, I got the letter back. It's in the book. You guys can see it. Yeah. And I invited him, and they said Carrie Meeks, who was, at the time, she was the state representative. Now she became the senator. She just died a while ago. And she checked me out. She went to the Martin Luther King Foundation, right? Because what I did was I was helping people with the SBA, how to learn how to run businesses, because they were renting booths at the flea market. And we taught them how to run a business, how to buy wholesale. And I was with all the pastors and all the deacons dancing in the churches and, you know, all that stuff. I had them behind me. And see, nobody wanted to go into the community because that was right after the riots. So I brought the community together. I had Hispanics, I had Caucasians, I had the black, I had everybody there at the concert. And you'll see the pictures with James Brown in the concert in the book, because most people think you're full of crap. So I put the pictures in the book, make it simple, you know. And they gave me the Martin Luther King Award for helping the community.
That's excellent.
And believe it or not, I wasn't clean at the time. That's when I was using also. Wow. I led two lives. What you see was not what you got.
Okay. All right. With that said, I appreciate you giving me your time and talking to me. So I will ask where can people find you, find the book?
They can go to John, the initial J, Giordano, GIORDANO.com. They will see television shows, radio shows, podcasts, some of the research. They can, if they go through the whole thing, they'll see James Brown, and you know, I did a lot of stuff.
Really? All right. I will put all that in the episode notes so people can find you and get the book. And thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate this. And you gave me.
Let me show you the book. This is the book.
Let me see. Oh, okay.
Okay. The kid from the South Bronx. That's me. I'm an inner city kid, and I was a street kid.
You grew up in the South Bronx. That's where hip hop and rap came from. Were you about that when that was coming up, or were you gone by then?
Remember, I'm 75. I'm as old as dirt.
All right, so you were gone before. Understood.
I got you.
Hey, you still came from a great place, man. That's legendary.
Oh, yeah. It was written up in Time magazine as the worst neighborhood in the United States. Oh. That's where I was from, Fort Apache. That was the police department.
Oh my goodness! And look where you became. Look what happened. Worst neighborhood, fantastic man.
So that's why I wrote the book, to show people 9th grade education, all of this stuff. Homeless, didn't matter. Keep going, man. Doesn't matter.
Definitely. I love quotes. I end each one of my podcasts with this quote, and I'm going to end it with this. The first step to being a good man is this. You must deeply feel the burden of the stones someone else is carrying. And I feel like that's why you're so good, because you understand the struggle of people going through, addiction and recovery. So there's no better person to be there with somebody in the trenches and the struggle and to talk with them, and somebody who went through it themselves.
Well, you know what's interesting? I know we're ending, but let me just tell you one little quick note.
Sure.
In school, for mental health therapists, they teach you not to disclose yourself. And to me, that is the stupidest thing you could do, number one. Now, I understand we don't want to make it all about you. I understand that. But if people, how are you going to get rapport with somebody that already has low self-esteem and you're coming from uptown and they're downtown? Not going to work.
Agreed.
That's my little...
Oh, that's a great nugget. That's how you end it. I appreciate it. And if you want more nuggets like that, the book is the place to go. The website is the place to go to find him. And for anything else you need, thank you so much for doing this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the listeners, everyone who listens to the pod, the Men Are the Prize podcast, where your inner monologue is revealed. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
Ciao.
Have a good one.
All right.